Todd, we're on the air. So how are you today?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing today, Mark?
We're doing pretty well. And to everybody that's going to tune in here momentarily for the InStat weekly webinar, we have Todd Woodcroft here, the newly appointed University of Vermont men's ice hockey head coach, which we're very excited about. And congratulations on the gig. What have you been up to get prepared for the season and everything?
I've just been sitting on the beach working on my 10, watching some old reruns of Magnum PI. And no, I've just been trying to use the time to get familiar with the staff, get familiar with the players, learn a lot more about the college hockey game, which is vastly different than the NHL game, and how we use the week from Monday to Friday, Saturday being the games, organizing the practice schedule. And then there's a lot of administrative stuff you have to do when you become the head coach of a college team, which has been new to me, but I've had an unbelievable support system from our athletic department, from our current assistant coach. His name is Jeff Hill, who's taking care of all this details for me that I'm still learning how to navigate. And then it's the NCAA compliance issues that you have to follow and learn and pass a test. So studying for that, it's been a lot of work, a lot of phone calls, a lot of people looking to place players, a lot of people looking for jobs on staff, and even little things like schedule details for 1 year, 2 year, 3 years out. So it's been a process where you have to hit the ground running and learn as you go.
Well, that's great. And, full transparency, throughout this time, we welcomed you recently to the InStat family. So I haven't even been able to walk through all the bells and whistles of the platform with you. There's been a lot of video messaging back and forth of, Mark, where's this, what's that? And me showing you that way as you're on the go. So, as we head in here, let's just keep that in mind. But we're so excited to have you on here today, and, really appreciative of your time. So with that, we'll get going. So we're going to talk a bit about how you use the platform, how coaches can use technology, and overall just how the platform might be able to save you a bit of time, especially in terms of watching players this upcoming season where budgets might be cut, or travel budgets, I should say, might be cut, or travel might be restricted due to what's occurring in the world.
Well, I think to answer that specifically, it's not just about budgets being trimmed or cut back. It's actually a smart use of your budget. For me to have been able to have access to players, obviously currently in the situation, you can't travel, go see players play. There aren't even junior camps for players to showcase their talents at. So we have to find new ways to identify players that we would want to have wear the Vermont jersey. And for myself, being able to use InStat and watch players' shifts from their past couple of years, that's actually, I've signed players lately because of that. So having done homework on players, having talked to opposing coaches, even teammates, and current coaches of players are always going to tell you the best things they can about it. They're in essence working for that player, trying to move them on to, in this case, Division I hockey. A lot of times you're going to get the best of a player from their coaches, which is what you should expect your coach to do for you. But if I'm going to bring a player into a program and allocate scholarship money to that player, I have to make sure that this player is going to be congruent with the system that we play, that they have the skills, the skill set to play within our team, and even just seeing how the player would play on the puck and the player would play off the puck. So for me, being able to go in and log and find some player in Europe and pull up 25 games of them and have their shifts right automatically cut for me, that's been dynamite. And then even over here in North America, to go through all the top junior leagues and look at players. And then lastly, even the ability to pull NHL teams, or in the example we're going to use today, we're going to use the USA versus Canada rivalry series, the women's game, to just download a full game and then do the work from that game myself. I'm able to pull clips that are going to be germane to our discussion here, that we're going to go and show how we would use technology to help individual players make their game better, and how the skills that we're going to ask the players to have on the team I'm coaching this year, or if you want to play at a higher level, these would be some of the skills that many teams might ask you to have in your skill set. So we're going to watch some of the Canada-USA rivalry series, and then we're going to stop some of the game and then look at some clips and then pull up some clips that are synonymous from NHL teams, and that's kind of the way we would use technology. For me, not having a experience set on InStat with the analytics stuff, I know that I will be using that, and the ability to see shot locations and where people are scoring from and against certain matchups and all those details that are so important to coaching. But for me being a new user right now, I'll show you how I was able to pull this game and then pull clips myself.
Let's do it. It sounds exciting.
All right, I will share my screen here.
And I think it's also great to show that, there are those coaches out there that want to cut games on their own, et cetera, but you can do both things within the platform. Look at the data, but also have, your own ability to go in and do what you need to do.
So we can see this right now. Mark, you got that?
I've got it. Yep.
All right, so perfect. So this would be an example of the game that I had pulled, and you'd be able to see so much information from this. This is Canada versus USA in game 1 of the rivalry series. So this game I chose specifically because this was the start of a war between Canada and US. This game happened in Hartford back just before the new year turned, and it was an excellent game. I enjoyed watching all the games in that series, and this was one of my favorites to watch. For example, how I would be able to pull different information. I could see where shot locations were coming from. I'd be able to see matchups, power play, penalty kill, all those. But then I would hit onto a team if I was looking to identify a certain player, and then I would be able to pull her shifts for this situation, or if it was for the NHL, players from the NHL shifts. And then if I'm trying to recruit a player to come to University of Vermont, being able to pull his shifts and hopefully being able to assign that player to the University of Vermont. So how we did this today is I'm going to open up this game I have right here, and then I'm going to make this a full screen in a second. And then what we're going to do is we're going to look at, I'm going to minimize it a bunch of times and look at specific skills inside the player's game. How I use technology myself is I like to use technology as a verb. That I'm using it as a coaching, makes me using coaching as a verb. I'm trying to find evidence or examples inside the games that I'm watching, whether it's a pre-scout or a post-scout. Usually with pre-scouts, teams that you're playing against, they're pretty predictable, and you're able to see systems of teams when you're going to play them. And I'm just going to turn the volume off here. And what you're trying to do in a pre-scout is you're looking for areas to exploit, you're looking for areas to expect from your opponents, you're looking for areas to improve upon from your own team, and you're able to use technology for that using different video platforms. You're able to make your argument exact because you have something that you can prove. Most NHL teams will use different systems for their video platforms, but all of them are pre-scouting. Teams in the NHL will usually pre-scout 3 or 4 games of their opponent, and then that changes during the course of the year. So if you're playing a divisional opponent, so for example, if I was in Winnipeg, when I worked in Winnipeg, and we know the St. Louis game so much, we would try to find some teams that St. Louis has played against recently that would be a similar structure to the way that Winnipeg had played. If we're playing a team in the East, for example, like we did at the end of the year, we played Washington late in the season. We didn't have a lot of experience with Washington for a full calendar year, so we'd want to see the last couple games, 3-4 games, try to find teams they played against that played similar to Winnipeg, and then build a project to pre-scout that team, and then at the end of the day, present that to the team that you're coaching and say, this is evidence of how they play. This is what we're going to do to counter what they're doing. I personally find that technology allows you to stay organized. If you are on top of the games that you're watching and clipping stuff as you need it and making different projects, me personally, I'm making dozens of projects at all times, different databases of individual skills, forward skills, defenseman skills. I go into winger skills, details and habits of a centerman, stuff for goalie. You can have goalie pre-scouts all in different databases. So when you need it, you're able to access it as quick as possible. So I find that technology allows us as coaches to be very organized, allows us to make a game plan for the opponents that we're going to play, and then also to analyze your team and have evidence to your team after a game to say, this is what we did right last night, this is what we can improve upon, and here is hard evidence of what I'm talking about as a coach. in between periods is a huge thing. If you have the ability to have an intermission between periods, whatever level you're coaching at, and you can come in and you can show players something exactly. Maybe on a power play, you're looking at a different forecheck from the opponent, or maybe you're looking at a different pressure up ice from the opponent that you're playing, different things that you have to make an adjustment on the fly when you come in between periods. Technology would allow you to show your team that. In the NHL, you have on the bench, you have the iPad, so you can do things in the moment. Most people watching probably don't have that, but if you do have the ability to have stuff live tagged and you have an iPad on your bench, that's great. One thing I would say on that would be that you want to make sure your players and yourself as a coach don't rely specifically on technology. Like anything else, it's a piece of the puzzle. Analytics, video, everything, it's all a piece of the puzzle. At the end of the day, this game is inside the players' hands, and it's our job as coaches to teach them the finer points of this game and then open the door and let the players play. This allows us to observe and correct mistakes often. But at the end of the day, the players have to play. So how we're going to do this morning is I'm going to just kind of go through this game, and then I'm going to be minimizing it and pulling up some clips that we have of some NHL skills that are exactly that we're looking at here inside the players we're watching today. So I'm not really going to give a commentating on this game because I'm not very good at it, as we would know right off the bat. So, this would be a detail right here that you might be able to grab your players. And I know the video is a little bit clunky coming over the internet. I apologize for that, but I think it's more the idea of what we're seeing here. So this could be an example if we were talking a skill for our defensemen. And just as I watch these, I'm going to tell them as they come to my head that we're going to see 14 here. That's Renata Fast, who's one of my favorite players to watch on Canada. Just the idea of getting inside number 25 there on the U.S. And number 25 on the U.S. is Carpenter, Alex Carpenter. And just to get inside her, to deny her that lane, that's something that you could show Renata after the game or even on the bench if you have the ability to have an iPad. Okay, so we're going to watch a little bit. This isn't really going to be a pre-scout of either of these teams. We're more just looking to pull some skills and show how we would clip them and be able to do it. So there's a whistle. What I don't have is the ability to skip ahead very fast. You're going to have to be patient with me as we fast forward through here. One of my favorite players there. All right, now we're going to get into a neutral zone face-off. If you were in a pre-scout situation right here, you'd want to know about the tendencies of the teams on a face-off win or a face-off loss. Now we're going to come into the neutral zone face-off here. I apologize for the fast forwarding here, but I don't want to miss anything. All right, so we would want to know if we were pre-scouting what Canada would do on a win, what Canada would do on a loss, what the U.S. would do on a win, what the U.S. would do on a loss. Just something for me, someone who face-offs are very important to what I like to do. If you have a player who's on her offside here, and that's Mary Fupulin, who's one of the best players ever, and she's on her offhand here. And we're seeing right now that this is Panic, who's also on her offhand right here on her offside. If U.S. or even Canada, for that matter, can make sure that they get a strong side person taking this face-off, your options from that are a lot better, and even your chances of winning a face-off would be better if you had a lefty going against a righty in this situation. This ends up being a little bit of a scrum. We'll see who gets possession. All right, so this is the first detail that I would want to pull in a player right here, and this is Carpenter. And what Carpenter does here is great. So this is off of a face-off, and what I like to see here from her, this is awesome, is just how she drives on the inside shoulder of the Canadian defenseman Fast right here. And that little detail right there of taking her stick. She just takes a Fast stick right there and lifts it off the ice. If there is a puck that comes to her right now, her chances of scoring are a lot better. So what I did for that one is I just pulled an entry clip, and this is going to kind of show us exactly the same kind of thing. So I'm going to let this one go.
This is the clip that you downloaded from InStat, correct?
I downloaded this clip from InStat. And now we're going to see the exact same thing. So we're going to see right now, we're going to see 91 right here on Chicago do the exact same thing. Just that right there. Just that little skill right there of being able to lift this stick upon entry. That allows Jonathan Taves right here to have way more options. Right now, that stick is off the ice. So that allows this option open. That allows a shot to the net option open. And then Kajula does exactly what Carpenter did right there and drive the inside. That opens up that scoring opportunity. And that's a great, great, great example of that. I'm going to go back to this. And I think I'm just going to let it play from here so that I can make it easier to get in and out of, if it's okay with everybody. You can still see that okay, Mark?
Oh, yeah, you're doing great.
Okay, perfect. So then we're just going to see, we're going to work on breakout situations right here. We'll talk a little bit about this as we get going, but ideally we'll want to make sure that your wingers, so this would be something that you could clip, that your wingers have an ability to be moving before she touches the puck here, before he touches the puck. So when they get that, their feet are already moving. But, that was a situation. It didn't happen. It ends up being a turnover right now. And then we're going to come back. And now we're into a breakout situation. So this would be an excellent example of skills for your defenseman to have. And that's making plays on both sides of their stick. Just being able to understand that sometimes you do have to make plays on your back end. Sometimes you do have to make those hard, difficult plays and evade a forecheck or make a play. So just what Fast did right here, this would be an example. I would pull this clip, and just for the sake of timing, I'm going to show you an NHL example of this. Just that fake, that deception, gets her toes up the ice as quick as possible. Puck is on her forehand, and she's looking to make that next play. So this would be another example of that. And we're going to see it here. So this is going to be Darlene. It's not exactly the same depth as the Fast clip here, but just this right there. Puck is on his forehand. His eyes are up. His toes are up. He's inside the dots and makes a play and then joins the rush, which is an excellent thing. Same thing that's happening here for Renata Fast. Okay, so this play gets made. Canada's in a breakout situation. Now they're going to keep coming. Canada's on a forecheck. Excellent play there by 15. Okay, so this would be something that you might want to be able to talk about with your players, about just understanding the skill of recognizing the pressure of if the opponent D is coming down on you, how much time do you have. Right now, there really is a little bit more time here. I'd like to see this player to be turned and rolling with this puck, to let this puck go by her. She has more time than she thinks right now. And this puck ends up being a turnover. That would be a clip. Maybe we would pull that player apart, aside the next day just to show her and say, here's an example of it getting done right. Wasn't a huge cost to that one, but that's what we would want to talk about as coaches. All right, so just that little skill right here, and we're going to come back to this one here in a couple seconds or a couple minutes. This idea right here of this defenseman taking this puck, and then now her feet are moving. Her feet are moving. She's not standing still, stuck against this wall, and she's ready to get this puck up the ice. Fantastic idea on the indirect. It gets kind of caught up on the feet, but the idea is right about the indirect. Okay, Canada's going to be coming back on a counter. Okay, and then just always looking for little details inside your game. If you're pre-scouting, where's the Canadian pressure? Where is the US D zone coverage? How can you exploit it? What can you look for? Okay, we're in a battle there. Excellent. We're going to revisit this one from a different perspective later on about how good players get inside the equipment of their opponents, just taking away their hands. And when you take away an opponent's hands, you take away their ability to control a puck. You're really just changing the shape of a player when you play inside her hands right here. That's perfect. And we come up with a puck, and now we get into a breakup. Okay, excellent little indirect. Okay, now we're into a little scrum. Canada's up the ice right now. And now we decide to be patient, wait for it. That's a skill right there, that evasion. Toes up the ice, eyes looking. This is fantastic. Makes a safe choice. Perfect. Okay, we'd like to see, we talked about moving your feet before you touch your puck. We talked about two right here. Augusta having the ability to be moving her feet first. Doesn't happen. Puck gets turned over. Now US is going back in and is going to have a possession on entry. Canada, great job with some sticks. Okay. Excellent. All right. So just this idea right here, using your partner. Now we have some motion for Canada. You're able to see a little bit more of the US's forecheck system. You're going to get into an icing there, but the idea of how you can pull these clips to be able to tell the story of the opponent that you're playing. What's the DNA of the team you're playing? What's their O-zone forecheck, their neutral zone forecheck, their, the D-zone coverage? You're looking at their counters, how they enter the offensive zone, all those little details, even details of on a lost offensive draw. How many people would the U.S. team send if they lose this draw? If Canada wins this draw, what is their exit plan? And then being able to clip those and then having a plan to play against them. Okay. It's good. We get this. Again, we'd just like to see, we'd like to see our players be moving their feet before they touch this. It just, every stride you take, the picture changes. That's something that Jamie Compon always talks about in Winnipeg. And we would want to see that too. So here's an example of that, of just moving before you touch the puck. We're going to see a good example here. This is going to be San Jose is going to have this, and just this idea right there that as soon as you get this puck, your feet are going to be moving. So either a second or two before this comes to you, your ability to just take off. And just by that taking off, you're leaving three of, in this circumstance, St. Louis players behind. If you're flat-footed, St. Louis is going to be able to challenge you a lot easier. And by those 2-3 strides, that allows your center to be underneath. That allows all the inside options that you could have with the puck, and even just driving back the player that is going to be playing defense in this room. So all that just because his feet were moving before he touched the puck on that. Okay. Perfect. Now this puck's going to get in. You'd be able to see, the U.S., if this was not an icing, you'd be able to see what their control breakout would be. You'd be able to see what the Canadian forecheck would be, a controlled forecheck, set forecheck. And now we'd be looking for some offensive zone plays, maybe for the U.S., how the U.S. is setting up. We'd want to know that if we were Team Canada, this could be something that we could clip. Again, how Canada would be trying to exit this puck on a D-zone face-off win. This is a great example of that strong side versus weak side draws. The Canadian player is on her strong side. You have the U.S. player who's on her weak side. Most of these situations, the center that's on their strong side is going to win these pucks. And just like that happened for Canada. You could use this as a teaching tool for number 8 here for Canada, just making sure that she doesn't get beat off the wall on the inside. That's Hillary Knight. She's going to beat most players off the wall anyway. Okay, again, moving before we touch the puck. We'd like to see that. Okay, we're going to see a little bit of the system that the U.S. would like to have. D active inside the rush. This puck gets going. Okay. All right. So when you have some pressure here and using the walls as your friend and just being able to roll these pucks. So for this circumstance right here, if you know that you have no pressure, you can really use these walls. So this is Saulnier right now. And she did a shoulder check there, which is great. And it's hard for me to see this puck that is here right now, if that's rolling or spinning and those things. It's hard for me. It's easy for me to say, hey, you can do this. But as a player in the moment, you have to process this all at one time. If she would just been able to roll this puck by her, that puck probably wouldn't be squeezed. And I just had an example of that for us here. So, this would be an example. You're going to see a Columbus player do this. This puck is just going to get rolled. And instead of touching that puck right now and actually slowing himself down, you're going to see 42 is going to let that puck by him. He knows that there's no real pressure coming from the Montreal defenseman down on him. He has an extra second. He can build his speed underneath it. And then more similar to the play that we just saw right there would be, this is a Winnipeg clip, and you're going to see a Columbus player do this. Go almost the exact same thing that Saulnier had in that situation. This puck is actually rolling. It's not a lead puck. I remember this one. And he just lets that puck go by him, and then he continues skating into it. He recognizes that there is no pressure from the defense that's coming down on him right now. His eyes are up, gets turned over. And then this detail right here, this habit of all good wingers, puck gets going, just getting off the wall and towards the middle of the ice. Just you can show this to your players and say by doing that, you're bringing the two Minnesota defensemen in together. You change the shape of the Minnesota that puck neutral zone defense, and you've opened up all these options as an option here. So Nikolai Ehlers right here. He has an option of being coming up the wall right here. He can do this into this corner. You can put this into this corner, or because it's rolled. Instead of touching that puck right now and actually slowing himself down, just that idea right there that you can do. He knows that there's no potentially that puck could not have been turned over. Defenseman down on him. Okay, it doesn't matter, no cost. Canada ends up with the puck again. This is great. And then more similar to the play that we just saw right there would be, this is a Winnipeg clip, and you're going to see so much of this game, nothing is happening. You don't have to overcoach your team. All the clips that you pull or you pick, you don't have to show them all what you know. You have to show them what they need to know. He just lets that. Which I found with technology is a crutch for a lot of coaches. They want to show how smart they are and show everything they learned. And sometimes players don't look at it. And sometimes on a bench, a player doesn't habit of all, especially high-level players that you usually understand what had happened. You can just say things to them quickly or wait until there's an appropriate time, let him catch the shape by Minnesota. Okay, so this is an example of a skill I would have for defensemen. This is another term I think is fantastic. Building a line of protection for defensemen to go back and get pucks. So 28 right now, you're going to see Sandy Hart is able to recognize the pressure right now that you can do. And then what we would say is we want to make sure that you are in the same line of this forecheck. So you're taking away her perfect angle to get inside of the forecheck. And then more similar. Sometimes the distance here is a tough one. This is an almost impossible one. If she was a little bit closer, you can actually slow down and accept that you pull or you check. You want to take that forecheck pressure with you, tie up their stick, and then use the forecheck to help you. But really, it's about building this line of protection. She's now cutting off everything they learned and the forecheck pressure right now. Great, excellent shoulder check right now, and she's going to do a great job high level putting that puck back on their stick. That's fantastic. What had happened. So you can just, if I think of that, I think of an amazing player that we had in time. Let him Dylan Mello. And if you watch Dylan here, so this is going to be a very similar situation, except 34 here, Soderbergh, a huge man. I think it's going to be a little bit tighter than Mello. Building the line. Mello actually is going to step inside of Soderbergh's 28 right now area of influence. Just that right there. Now he's built himself a line of protection, and then what we would say is we want to make sure that you are in the same line of this forecheck, changes the shape away from Carl Soderbergh just by stepping in front of him, building that line of protection, and now he's going to slow down. He's going to accept this pressure. If she was a little control this puck area, actually slow down and accept that you pull or you check. We want to take center doing a great job there. Adam Lowry is there as a support valve, often called the second quick. But really, it's about building this line of protection. She's now cutting off everything they learned. Okay, before check right now. Keep going. Great, excellent shoulder check right now, and she's going to do a great job high level putting that scrum action going on there. Fighting for the puck. Fighting to use the glass, which is always great. We're going to revisit that in a little while. Learning when you can hoist that puck. So this is going to be a very similar situation, and when we can hoist that puck. There's different levels of. It's going to be a little bit tighter D zone for you as a team, and we're going to see right here. This is 26 Soderbergh. If she was able to get to this puck earlier, even just stepping inside to get this, there is an option to flip that puck by reading the pressure from the defenseman, whether you can use a glass note just by stepping in front of him. Sometimes if you have this heavy of pressure, the area of the ice that is open is technically this area right here. So when you have scrum pucks, battle pucks inside, especially below the dot and below, for sure below the circle, a lot of times to relieve that pressure, you need to go on the other side. But two things that we would talk about here would be a skill. And this guy is one of the best at it. Great, we're going to see shoulder check right now, and she's going to do a great job. When we get this puck back, it's going to come on there. See just that the puck flip right there. Very similar situation. We're going to revisit that in a little while. Some pressure on top of him. You can hoist that. Just this skill right here. Very similar hoisting that puck. When we can, we'd rather have the battle up here. It's going to be a little bit down here. D zone when Roswell gets his puck, he understands that, and that's a skill that's practiced. If she was able to get to this puck, if you do have no opportunity to hoist that puck, another thing you could do that we just talked about is you have that puck reading on the other side. So a very similar situation right here on the left side of the ice that we had there. Same thing in the other end area. Patrick Laine with a great shoulder check is able to recognize that, and then pressure is on here. There's nothing he can do to the middle. He has another player coming at him right here. So just to relieve that pressure, he's able to change direction with it out the other side, and all the good guys have an exit. Okay. So let's see. Okay, so that puck is contested. It comes back in. And then now this next skill right here that we're going to talk about. This is an amazing, amazing idea. This is Bach. You're going to see on this one as a centerman, just supporting that puck. So we talked about in the clip we saw with Adam Lowry, the center being a support. Same thing right here that you're going to see Bach doing, that she's going to come low and slow and underneath this puck. So this would be a clip I would keep to show her, and show her this is an excellent job, or show your team, or show your next generation of centermen. And just say, this is how we want our centers to support the puck. Could she maybe come in a little bit deeper? Probably. But at the end of the day, she gets a great exit right here. She presents her stick, and they get a clean exit. So I just pulled another one like that. And lastly, even the ability to pull NHL or in the, and I'm going to turn off the volume. And we're going to see almost an identical clip right now. So we're going to see this from Nashville right now. You can see Ryan Johansson. I like how Ryan comes really low. His feet actually touch into this paint. Roman Josi should be a Norris Trophy winner any one of the years coming up. Sees that, gives it to him. And just that idea also of Ryan presenting his stick. Ryan's stick is on this ice. It's ready. He understands that he just did a shoulder check. He understands, but he gives him a place to go with the puck, and he's ready to move. And just that same thing that Victoria Bach did right there, of presenting your stick. So this is under a little bit heavier pressure right now. We're going to see Florida on the exit. And just watch Barkov right here. Watch his stick. Look at that right there. Just by having his stick right there, the communication between this centerman and this defenseman right there is an obvious one. He's giving him a passing lane. And now Florida has a clean exit, and they're out. That was a dynamite example from Bach, and then also from the players we just saw. All right, we're only 4 minutes into this period. We're going to watch all 3 periods, and we're going to watch overtime, shootout, and then highlights. I'm just kidding. We're going to wrap this up in probably 20 minutes or so. We'll see how far we get inside the game, but just the idea of how coaches can use technology. A lot of replays are very good. I like them, especially to show positive things. If you were pre-scouting this would be a good example of how the U.S. wants to set up for an offensive zone draw. Maybe looking for a play. They didn't get the situation they wanted. Canada sorted this out great, and this puck has gone all the way back down. Okay. Battling for this puck. Poulin, my favorite player. I'm not shy to say it, and I've said it 1,000 times, and still nobody sent me a signed jersey or a stick, and I'm a little bit ticked off. But that was a great example for her. You're seeing right now her stick. Watch her stick all this time. This is fantastic. Right there. That's classic. Excellent job. Doesn't let the puck get hung up. Okay. Perry Pern headed over to the KHL. Good luck to Perry, ex-Winnipeg Jet. Fantastic coach. Okay, we're seeing the. Okay, we would maybe see some neutral zone face-off situations, wins or losses. Okay, we're starting to see a little bit of Canada's forecheck there. You can see control in this puck area. Lee Stecklein, who is one of the best in the world at this that I've ever seen. So she builds this. She builds this line of protection here, and I'm going to show you an excellent clip from John Klingberg doing this. So this comes back. So right now you can actually see she steps inside the line of the Canadian forward coming at her. She protects the puck with that. And then she's going to end up using the kick plate, the yellow ring around the wall. She tries to make the right play, gets picked off there by 24 in Canada. But just when you are a D going back and you're looking to control that puck area, this is a fantastic example. First thing is when you're going back to look for a puck, you see John Klingberg is doing everything right here. He's recognizing the forecheck pressure that's coming to him. He actually is going to know who the players are on the ice and what they're capable of, and the player that, you know, if it's Ryan Reeves coming at you, he might, you know, turn you in rink advertising. If it's Ryan O'Reilly coming at you, he might have that stick under your puck and take it back the other way towards your net. So an awareness of who the players are coming against you. And then before his feet turn, he understands that pressure that's coming in this situation from Colorado. And now he's turned and he's back and he's hard back for that puck. And all these little details matter. and back hard for that puck and those shoulder checks. Those shoulder checks right now, he's understanding the way that this puck is coming off the wall. Is it coming a hard rim? Is it a cross corner dump? Is it flipped? Is it rolling? Is it dead? Is it fast? All those situations. So when he finally arrives to the puck, he's able to manage it as quickly as he can and organize that puck. That puck was a little bit of a slow roller. He now understands the Colorado pressure coming from his left side. And then the wall is going to be sealed here in a second by Colorado too. So he's just going to control that puck area. And most people right now would think that the Colorado is going to have possession of this puck, but John is so good at controlling this puck area. He's able to just put it into his feet, and he actually kicked it back over there to Ben. They get a clean exit, and they're gone. But that would be an example of a skill that you would want to have with your players. Okay, perfect. That puck got turned over on her, unfortunately, in that one. This is great. Little battle for the puck here. Okay, so to me, this might be an example of a communication thing. We'd be talking, Steck lands on her backhand. She's tired. She was just in a battle for a puck, coming towards the end of her shift. We know probably from a Canadian pre-scout that they're going to overload on one side. There's 1, 2, 3 forwards here. We got a D that's got some early position on her partner right here. So the onus for me would be right here on number 3 Barnes to be calling for this puck, even a center to call for a center called reverse. But to me, the exit plan would be a lot easier to come out the other side here. She's on her backhand. Those are dangerous, dangerous plays to make, and it ends up being a turnover. A lot of that I would actually say would be the onus on the partner, calling for that puck, calling for it. Okay, so the cost of that is Canada gets some offensive zone time, and they get a scoring chance. So, and it's a pretty good scoring chance right here. So you're going to see Natalie Spooner is one of the best. Me telling her what to do is not real smart for me to do because she's way better than I am. But the one thing I would say would be, the more times you stick handle, dust off that puck, the more it allows the other team to react. I'd like to see her being able to step in. There's a great stick here. So this is very easy for me to stay. But if you can attack inside that dot and really not dust that puck off, the less time you have with the puck on your stick, shuffling it and stick handling it, the more time it is for your opponents to have it. So, a clip I might have pulled, for somebody there in a similar situation. This is just an excellent example. Earlier in this game, when I was looking for clips, Tyler Johnson, who you're going to see is going to be outside your screen right now, had the exact same situation and dusted off 2-3 times, and that allowed everybody on Chicago to set, and they had an easy save. But now when this puck comes to him right now, he's going to do the exact opposite. Requires his target, does not dust this puck off. He just keeps it on his forehand. Even 1-2 dribbles right on this thing right now, that's going to allow Chicago to set. This makes it harder for the goalie to pick it up. And just that little habit right there that we would ask our players to make. Okay, now we're going to, got a little penalty here. Let's just get out of the 5. So we're at a 5-on-5. I think they score on this one. Okay. Just going to start this kind of back a bit, do it at the start of the, when the puck drops. Okay, so, we were pre-scouting. We would look at center ice face-off wins for the opponent, center ice face-off loss for an opponent, what they do. Okay, we're back. Breakouts. There's the kind of reverse that we're talking about coming back the other way. Excellent. Nice little touch there by Augusta. Perfect skill. Even just for a defenseman tying up somebody's stick right here, not accepting that. So just a great job right there. Just tying up a stick, even if it's for a half a second, so that stick isn't on the ice. That would be a clip we could keep, even just for your defenseman. Great shoulder check right here by Bellamy. She's just going to have a look. And then now she's on her backhand. And again, the skill of having your players work on their backhands in uncomfortable situations. She does have the option to keep this on her forehand and get it to her partner. She's going to do a long play along the kick plate here. Ideally, I'd like to see a winger down a bit and then rolling into it like the clips we saw a few minutes ago. But the idea is right. Just that long roll and your partner's working for you. And it'll be the same situation right here. We're going to see a long roll. That puck just got ruled. That clip's a little short there. And then we're just going to see that little shoulder check, letting that puck go by you. Letting this puck go by you, shoulder check, recognizing the pressure, and then looking to make the next play from that. So it would be a very similar thing that we just saw right there with the U.S. Okay, Canada with a nice squeeze. Perfect. Okay, nice check there. I like that. And this skill right there, I love this. This is Keller with a great idea right here of just moving before she touches the puck, taking that ice in front of her. If she stands with her back stuck to the wall right now, she's going to be a real easy player to check. But when you see players just taking that ice in front of them, even under any kind of pressure, it changes the shape of your opponent's forecheck and makes it a lot harder for them to read. And we're going to see it right here. So we're going to see the Anaheim D. Just that right there. Just those 2-3 strides. That's a habit, a detail for your players. And with technology, you can pull these clips and organize them and just show your players the importance of that. So just like what we saw right there with Keller, who did this perfectly, it'd be the same thing here. Just that 2-3 strides, puck on their forehand, inside the dots, and now the ability to get a puck on an entry and all the different options you have as a defenseman there. So Keller did a fantastic job on that one. Right there, just those 2-3 strides. Excellent. Tap, we get it in. Canada, great job on the counter. And then just this. This would be the last clip that I wanted to show from today. I think this is just such a great skill right here. We're going to see here. So this is Saulnier again. Just watch her, and there'd be a great replay of this. Just watch the angle that she has. She's going against Keller. Keller, a great job, line of protection. This is perfect. But this idea right now, for her to understand that she wants to get a real good word, it's a Todd McClellan word actually, is called inside her equipment. You want to play inside her space, and just this right there, just taking those hands away, making sure that Keller's shape has changed. She's not in an athletic situation anymore. She's kind of in an uncomfortable situation. And then here we see Saulnier with the puck and then getting that puck to the net. So I think that's a pretty good, that's a pretty good example. We only got through, essentially 10 minutes of this period, but being able to see, how you organize things, how you can, put things in different files. Like I have a whole whack of different files. I have master databases. I have, my coding windows. I have for each individual zone. I have face-offs versus righties versus lefties, neutral zone defense, neutral zone offense, line changes, everything. If you have an ability to clip your games by using technology and showing your players, I think that you're going to be in a much better situation as a coach. And then, from the very beginning, I said the thing that technology allows me to do is to be a coach as a verb. I can show things, I can prove things, I can coach them by having examples and evidence in front of me. And you can use it as a reward for your players the next day to show the things that she did great, or he did great, or your team did great, or areas for improvement as well. How are we going to get better as a team? These are examples of what we did great. When we play against Team X, this is what we did great last time. These are the things that we need to do to continue to beat these teams and to continue to compete. So that's how I personally would use technology. I think if you don't have the budgets where you can afford, heavy video platforms, there's still ways that you can use it, either having parents filming your games on an iPad, and then, the software that's available for you, whether it's using your own cell phone. Players nowadays, this is the thing that players do the first thing in the morning, and the first thing they do after the game, and the first thing they do going to bed, and the first thing they do when they're going to breakfast and brush their teeth, and everything is with a screen in front of them. So if you're able to push even 3 or 4 clips to individual players or your team as a whole, I think it's great. If you have bus trips, it's a great way to use some time on your bus that you can send a couple of clips. Again, my big caution would be don't overuse technology and video. It's more of an excellent tool for coaches to get better, coaches to improve, coaches to impart their message, but you don't need to show your players 15 minutes of video before a game. In the NHL, you might have a video clip, a whole total package for a 5-on-5 pre-scout might be a minute and 20 seconds long. It might be 15 clips or 16 clips. So I find that if you have this, your team and you're speaking to them all the time and you're only showing video, at some point you might lose them. So that would be my suggestions to everybody that's here as a coach and watching this. I appreciate everybody's time. I know these are the dog days of the summer, and I know that Mark might have some questions there for me. And if not, then I hope everybody's.
I haven't even asked them. I'll jump in. I haven't even asked them to provide questions, but on the chat in YouTube, they're able to provide any questions. And it's safe to say, I mean, I think Vermont's in pretty good hands. That was quite impressive, and it's always wonderful to listen to somebody with your knowledge and the details of the game that you can that you see and can point out. I think it's fantastic, and yeah, I mean it's a great communication tool, is what I always say to people. You know, technology can really help communicate what you're pointing out instead of it just being words. It's a picture as well. And my favorite line that I was told by an old hockey guy was, "Hockey is monkey see, monkey do." So they have to see it in order to be able to do it. So I think that's excellent, and it is in line with what you said. And well, Todd, I told you there's a lag of about 20 seconds. So we have to wait about 20 seconds here to see if anybody is going to write a question. And I apologize, there was a bit of technical difficulty there for just a few minutes, but I think we cleared it up. I received text messages saying we did clear it up. So we of course did, but appreciate it very much. This has been awesome. How many games would you say that you watch?
I mean, people probably wouldn't believe you, but in the NHL, you're watching your own game. The post scout in your own game is a massive project, because that probably it's probably a 3-hour process to do a post scout on your own team. You know, you're looking at every single aspect of your team, and you're looking at individual projects for every one of your players. And maybe you don't show those players those projects right now, but in 7, 8, 10 games down the road, if there's a trend for that player that you need to see improved, or you want to see how they have improved, you can go back and pull those clips and show them. The games that I personally would watch in a pre-scout, I would always watch a minimum of 3 games of the opponent that we're playing. Paul Maurice, who I think is the greatest head coach in hockey, was always on me for trying to, watch less of it and telling me that we could tell the same message. If I see 2 games, and now that we're so familiar, but I always felt that it was my responsibility to know everything that could happen and be prepared for it. So whether that was a face-off play that a team would done, or whether that was a rotation of the opponent that we're playing, whether they're playing at home or on the road, and how the opponent coach is going to rotate and fold their players in. Are they a hard match team? Who's starting a game? Who's ending a period? Who's going to start the second period? And who comes on first after a power play or a penalty kill? And those are the rhythms that you want to pick up and be able to chart. So when things do happen, when Paul asks me, hey, who's coming out next, I'm going to have a little bit of an idea of the rhythm of what the coach is going to do. So I would watch, 4 games times 82. I'm not a math guy, whatever that is. Plus our own games, you watch them over again all the time too. And then at the end of the day, sometimes for fun, I just like to watch other hockey and see. I watch a lot of European hockey, which I really enjoy. The women's game, I spent a ton of time watching. And that rivalry series to me was like, we talked about Magnum PI at the beginning, which is my favorite show growing up. It's like watching Magnum PI for me. I could watch that rivalry series over and over again.
That's wonderful to hear. That's wonderful. Well, we have no questions filtering in. I think right. I mean, hey, lucky you, right? You've answered them all without even knowing you were answering them. So,
lunchtime.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Todd, really a real treat, and we appreciate it so much. And as I said, Vermont is obviously in very good hands, and congrats on the gig, and look forward to being in touch with you. Thank you for everything.
Thank you very much. Thanks very much for everybody's time today. I hope we're able to share some insight in how some coaches use technology. I hope everybody's healthy and happy and has a great rest of the summer, and stay safe.